Hello and welcome to Enquire to Choir. My name is Eva and I'm here to help you, fellow choir people. Last video was about the topic of should you quit your choir as a choir director? But now probably you know that you want to leave your choir, and the question is how? How to leave your choir, how to quit your choir, how to be the bigger person, how to make their transition easier. You're probably aware of the fact that if you are leaving the choir based on your decision, it was something you wanted, it wasn't something the choir anticipated, you're probably aware that you have to give them something in order to go through the transition more easily. So this video is about that. How would I do it? And when? Here we go. First of all, my first advice would be think it through. Because when you leave, you will leave. You cannot be a backup choir director once you leave the choir. In theory, you maybe think that you could be an advisor or you could be someone who they will turn to. But the fact of life is when they find a new choir director, they will stick with that new choir director, and someone from the past will not be someone who understands them. And once you leave the community, once you leave the position, you will not be the person who understands the community because you're not there anymore. You cannot speak from experience because the experience you had is not this experience the new choir director will have. So just be aware that when you leave, you will leave, and the whole process of leaving will be, you know that saying, they fell in love slowly and then all at once? That's the same when it comes to leaving the choir. You will go through the motions slowly. Every step will be like one step at a time, and then you will leave all at once. Just think it through and be very sure of your decision, because that will help you in the process of leaving the choir. The problem is you're a single person standing in front of a group that is connected to you, that is counting on you, that is probably very surprised that you are actually thinking of leaving and then to actually leave. So just be sure this is something you want. It's okay if you want to leave the choir, but just be sure. Okay, so how would I do this? Well, I would give them time to adjust. I think the biggest sign of respect and love is to announce it beforehand. If I'm able to announce it a few months or a whole season in advance, I would do it. If I'm able to stay the whole season till the end of the season, or at least give them a few months, if you have the opportunity to do this, I would do it like that, because this way you give your choir time to adjust and you give them your work still in order for them to be able to have the performances or be better equipped for the things they have to do as a choir in the following months. You know, when you quit a job, you still have the 2 weeks notice or a month notice. That's very natural. When it comes to the choir, of course, if you cannot stay, that's okay. And if you don't have a contract, you're not officially obliged to. But I think it shows good practice. The moment that you know that you're sure, that you announce that to, if not to the choir, at least to the choir management, because the choir management needs to know beforehand in order for the choir to survive. They're the ones who have to predict everything and they have to plan everything. And if they're planning for one thing and you're not telling them that you're going to leave, or you're pretending that you're going to stay, or you are being silent about things changing in the fall and they keep expecting and counting on everything staying the same, I mean, that's a very bad situation. So if you're able to announce you're leaving a few months, half a season, or the whole season in advance, I would strongly advise you do that. At least say to the management, listen, there is a possibility, I'm not yet sure, but I'm thinking about it, can we talk about it, what are the possible steps? So once you tell your management, they will decide if, when, and how they will tell to the choir or you will say. But I think it's very respectful and shows great respect to the choir, especially to the choir management who you have worked with at least in a certain amount. It shows that you're not leaving on bad terms and you're not leaving without any respect. That said, if the choir management is you, then tell the choir when you know, when you're sure, when you have a full plan for the next few months or some other things you can say or predict with precision. Tell your choir, be honest, don't lead them on, don't give them false hope, don't give them the false narrative, just tell them, okay? Don't escape and don't go without saying anything. That's very bad practice, and you make it very difficult for the choir to transition and to trust another choir director. So please don't do that. Don't burn bridges, I think, is the thing that has to be said. You never know, and you don't want to. It doesn't matter how good or bad you feel about certain things or your choir or the fact that you want to leave. You don't want to leave them in bad faith. Like, those are people and you will run into them, and yeah, just show them respect by telling them upfront that your plan is to leave. Yeah, do that. I would strongly argue something that I don't think many people will agree, but I think you as their choir director can do a lot and should do a lot when it comes to preparing them mentally and musically for the change. Okay, so you know them best. You can show your choir members that everything will be okay. You can assure them that they will be okay because they are very well equipped. You can do this by planning the rest of your time there to be very efficient. You can learn a lot of new program. You can practice for the performances. You can schedule some additional things you want to work on just for them to be more capable of handling the new director. You can talk to them about the new choir director practices. You can talk to them about how to manage the change, how to mentally prepare for someone new. You can do all of that, and it shows good practice because you're actually helping the next choir director who will not be in a good position, because to succeed the previous choir director is one of the toughest things to do when it comes to the choir. So you will also be helping your colleague who is going to replace you. You will still have a tradition in that choir, but there will be a new person, and you don't have to be very egotistical about it. Probably, if your management and your choir knows that you will be leaving, they will be holding an audition for the new choir director's place. You can be in the committee. I think that's a very good practice if everybody's on good terms with you, because you know the choir best and you can give them the best advice. That said, be respectful. Don't be nasty. Don't be like, he's not good enough, I was better. Like, you're not important anymore. Like, you're leaving the choir and you want to leave a good legacy, but you're not the only choir director in the world, and your style is not the only style of choir directing there is, and maybe you will not be the best choir director that choir had. That's very real. New people come, fresh ideas, choirs adjust in a different way. Also, if there are not any auditions, but you know someone who you would recommend, that's also something that's very beneficial for the choir, because if their previous choir director recommends someone, that means that probably they're not very different. They are different people, but their styles are not very different when it comes to directing. If you have someone who you can trust, they will be good with the choir. That's actually also very, very good to do. That said, if the auditions are fruitful and you find your replacement, work with them, with the choir, immediately. They can sit on the rehearsals, you can talk to them, you can give that person more and more to do. So the transition is not from you to them. It's like you were working together and you were going away, and that other choir director, the new choir director, was becoming more important. That's actually a very nice transition, because it shows that you as the previous choir director are helping the choir, and the new choir director has the opportunity opportunity to learn about the choir, to see how you worked, what they will do differently, what they agree with, what the program is, what the practice is like, what the rehearsals are like. Just be open-minded, just give the opportunity and be a colleague, be a friend to that new choir director. There are not a lot of choir directors out there. I know it seems like there are, but there are not that many. So we have to stick together, and I really feel that it's important that we show to each other that we are there for each other and we're not backstabbers. Think about it that way. And finally, when everything is set, when the date of your leaving comes, then leave. And leave, really leave. Don't occupy the choir director's space anymore. Be fair, leave, and don't expect that you will be important anymore. It's not anything personal. You will always be in the biography of the choir, but when the new choir director comes, it's a new era. But don't take anything personally, neither the good or the bad stuff, and don't take it personally if they don't mention you anymore. I find that sometimes when people leave the choir, they expect that everybody will mourn and continually want them to come back. That's not actually the way life works. I think it is very real that new people bring new energies and the life goes on. I mean, that's the truth, you know? So if they don't call you, if they don't ask for your advice, if they don't invite you to certain practices or certain performances, don't take it personally. If enough time passes, sometimes new managements forget because they have never met you, for example. So that's all very real. Just don't let your ego overcome everything and just leave. When you said you're going to leave and leave it at that. Just don't be that ex-boyfriend who just keeps asking for attention. Okay, so I hope you find this video helpful, and I hope everything goes well for you. Everything will be okay. You made a good decision. It's just a question of how you will go about that decision right now with your choir, but everybody will be okay. It's a natural process in life, and it's time for you to move on, and it's time for your choir to find someone new. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here, and conduct well, conductors, and I'll see you next time. Bye!